Welcome to Stonage, a show that talks about shit that's actually true in a way that might not be actually true. The dragon in the movie How to Train Your Dragon is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for like that source of power or that source of social power or whatever for that kid or for those kids, because when you look at it, like how my characteristics are of it, so it's the thing that is rejected by society, only to find when that one boy who finds himself out in the woods, like it starts to interact with this dragon, he finds what's actually this dragon, rather than being evil as we perceived it, it's more a thing of what he just sees the world completely differently from us. But and then this kid now becomes a bridge, and all of a sudden this dragon is now serving the community. So that's why I say it's like it's a metaphor for like a social status thing or social power thing, but it is rejected in the past, I think, by communities or by people, sometimes by our own minds, for good reason. Maybe because of limited understanding, maybe because of bad first experiences, or maybe because of the fact that so not everything good is worth having, or let me put it differently, we are not ready for everything good that is supposed to happen to us. So again, I was also going cultivate. So like the thing is perfectly good. It's really alright. So the idea, there's really maybe nothing wrong with it. But because of where society still is at that time, it becomes necessary to reject that idea because we just don't understand it. So I think that's what happened in the past with like Hilentole, with like homosexuality. Yeah, but it's not always bad. Like people, Aban Magdala, so they weren't these like stupid, unknowing people. Well, they were, but then they were also pretty wise. So as it of it, so some books were closed for a reason. An example of this would be, this is again Gonja Valley, this is a Stonage. An example of this would be like look at the dress code among Muslim women. I think so the Chandis was not done to control women, no, but it was done because of a realization that actually, like, this whole thing of you exist as an autonomous individual and stuff like that is only good for convenience during a conversation. But when you actually sit and think about it, so it's, am I really an individual? And am I really in charge of myself? And we're thinking, sure, like, when did you take that ownership? Because like, we all just woke up here. And we're like, okay, we're here. And then one day we'll all just stop being here. I was so like, not every book is closed for bad reason. But I think this is a conversation that maybe the world is not ready to have. And most people think Uguti, by thinking like this, one is being behind. But actually, I think the opposite. I think by thinking like this, you're actually thinking like far ahead. Uguti, the world seems to be at a place where, like, when it comes to like we seem to be at a stage where we admire it. We are all about like women empowerment in our yoga land, and as a result, women are dressing a lot less conservatively as compared to in the past. And I think this happened for good reason, because the reason why women were supposed to dress up in a certain way, like, it was lost. it became lost, and now we seem to have grown up at a time where women were dressing up modestly, not because they understood that they had to, but they were doing it because, like, out of ritual, because it was something that's just being done, and as a result, it ended up being labeled as Wutsi. It's a form of control, but it not really. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I think there is a connection between, like, the instability of relationships and stuff like that these days, and the way that the way that people, carry themselves. Like, let's make an example. Let's come back here to South Africa. Here in South Africa, we know it's okay, umdesfazane uyalotsholwa and all of that. And then we know umdesfazane, like, his duties awenzayo. And there's this one idea that I want us to go to. Lento ukuthi umdesfazane, abantu besifazane bakudala babebekezela. Now, a lot of people yashandisile abayibuka, like, a lot of girls these days are like, angize ngibekezele mina and all of that. And, like, honestly, considering the time where, like, low muntu grew up, in the show makes perfect sense. I absolutely agree with them. But let's go back. Yeah, when you look at history, you find men have been more or less like this, like, all the time. Yeah, kodwa the family structure hasn't been always this broken, hasn't been always and as unstable as it is today. So why was it so stable back in the past? It's because abantu besifazane were strong enough, or no, actually, point of correction. It's because abantu besifazane were willing to bekezela. And these days, maybe bekezelaing is impractical and everything, but then it brings us back to a thing of uguti. How did umshado become a thing even at the first place? How did we as humans come to the point where we decided that, you know what, we're going to institutionalize relationships? I think the way we did that was because we realized, actually, amachita, like, we're doing this thing lento leyenza manje of just hit and run, and at realizing it's actually long term abantu abalimalayo la are actually the women, yabo. So what decided to know, as in, okungcona kube njani akube nento ekuthiwa umshado. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say ukuthi umshado vele is supposed to be something that will benefit more umuntu wesifazane, yabo. Okay, now look at that however you want to look at it. You can post your comments. I'd like to hear your views and all of that. Yeah, let's move on. How to train your dragon. Before you can train your dragon, you have to find your dragon. Okay, so here's how you find your dragon. Isolation, like not complete isolation, but from time to time you have to be like the type of person, or you have to adopt like a behavior of just receding to yourself. Like, call it meditation, call it quality time, call it whatever you want to call it, but have the time where you just, like, go back and step back, step out of the world, have a place. It could be a corner in your room, it could be, your whole room, it could be like a specific time where we are, it's just me, myself and I, or it's just me and the Holy Spirit, or me and God. But we all need that time. And like, I grew up Christian a lot, and one of the things that I was taught in my most recent church was you wanna like have like a routine, like a morning routine where you get up and you calibrate your mind to be in the right frame, or you get up and you meditate. And I think that is such an important thing, that is such an important thing, because like, it's so easy to get lost and overwhelmed, by this world of it. So, like, I think abantu abaningi, they are actually like at that point where it's just, we are just living, we are just alive, that we don't really know what we're doing, but we're just there. So it helps for you to step back, because then you get to reconnect with yourself and you get to see what you like and what you don't like. And yeah, I think that prevents people, or that would prevent a lot more people from being stuck in jobs and careers that they don't want, from, that is the reason why a lot of people maybe, find themselves lazy and discouraged. It's actually because you don't take enough time to step back, and to make it even worse, as we grow, anxiety becomes a thing. And the anxiety, what it's like is, it's like the thing that sort of stops you from looking at your thoughts face to face. It stops you from actually ever being able to just sit and observe your thoughts for longer than 5 seconds, because you're scared. And as a result, you can never come to terms with yourself. You can never recall ukuthi yini oyithanda, what were you, and in those oyithanda is actually whatever you're going to be exposed to from childhood. But whatever that is, it's going to stay with you and it will chase you forever. And what happens is, a lot of people, they just find themselves doing whatever or being whatever, and so being so out of touch or out of connect with their inner child. So isolate yourself. That's when you're going to be able to hear your voice the loudest. Yeah, so some practical ways of isolation is about meditation, finding a time and place where you can just here's one thing I do also sometimes: put on earphones. Like in a busy week, maybe put on earphones while you're in a taxi. But this time, don't listen to Beyonce or whatever you listen to. Rather, listen to a book or a seminar, about something that's going to either help you grow, or about something that's related to whatever your belief is, to whatever you believe. In order for you to you're like reinforcing you're reinforcing your faith, your confidence. And if you have confidence in what you believe in, that confidence usually spills over in everything else in your life. Well, so yeah, putting on earphones is one practical way, but I think it's more important to actually just isolate. The earphones thing is sort of like a quick fix type of thing. Oh yeah, good company is also very important. Good company being people who are moving in the same direction as you. So some people might not be ready to face their own shit, and now you come, and when you are telling them about the shit you're facing, of course they're gonna tell you otherwise. I mean, that's not their world. Their world is avoiding shit. Their world is not doing anything about shit. Okay, so you've isolated yourself, you have reconnected with yourself and discovered what is the thing that I really, love from childhood. And now, how do you cultivate it? How do you train your dragon? Same way. Isolation again. Yeah. Isolation, meditation, and then of course specific means of of practice, but depending on what your dragon is. I mean, if you're a soccer player, it would be pointless to train your vocal cords now. Yeah, and in doing this, bruh, you wanna practice being compassionate towards yourself, because you'll make a lot of mistakes. Yeah, you'll do a lot of things ngendlela that you probably wouldn't like to do them, because we all like to imagine which we are like good at everything, but that's not true. Also, you really want to be compassionate towards yourself in this phase. Be understanding and be honest with yourself. Have like balls, face shit straight on. And yeah, if you can't, that's fine as well. It's fine. It's pointless to beat yourself up for something that you can't do. Do your best at something, but if you can't do it, life goes on. Maybe you'll be able to do it some other time. Okay, that's it for the Stonage, or the first Stonage. I hope you guys were helped. Bye-bye.